everyone. We welcome you. We are coming to you live from IIHM Delhi studio, and the excitement levels are really high here as Dr. Suborno Bose is launching a book, Managing Complexity and COVID-19, live at Singapore. So we have our special guest with us today, Professor Aurobindo Ghosh from SMU Singapore Management University, and let us take you live to Singapore to see the action over there.
Hi guys, how are you guys doing? Hello, thank you so much for having me.
And this is Tanya, and I have my co-host Deepthi here, and we are all live from India, from IIHM Delhi studio. A very warm good evening from you, from India to you, Professor Ghosh. So I'm sure the excitement levels are very high, and I'm sure it is a very, very great evening for you there at Singapore, Professor Ghosh. So, Professor Ghosh, if you could please share, like, what is the motive behind launching the book, which is Managing Complexity and COVID-19? So, what is your motive behind launching the book?
So the main motivation was to capture a time capsule of what happened during the pandemic. Particularly different professions which have been affected very deeply. Their way of doing business has changed. Education as a sphere has changed. More digitalization has come in. More online banking has come in. More new innovations has come in. These are the silver linings. So we had the book launched today, discussing mostly about the silver linings and also the challenges of different experts in different areas in medicine, in law, in areas of business, including petrochemicals, and in journalism as well, that they faced over this particular period. So we want to capture that as a time capsule so that we can capture the knowledge that there is, so that in future, if that happens again, we would have a way of addressing that challenge rather than making the same mistake again. That is the main purpose of the book, and it was a great discussion about, particularly who are experts and board members and regulators in Singapore who commented about it. Business leaders and academic leaders talked about how organizations, including educational institutions like SMU, had to change online almost on a drop of a hat in a very short time. And what they managed to do at the end of the day is to actually grow better despite the pandemic, so that they are better prepared for the future.
Very lovely thought, Professor Ghosh, behind launching this book. So, if you could also reiterate a little bit on how is the launch of this book, which is Managing Complexity and COVID-19, is going to help the upcoming generation in the coming years ahead. So, what do you have to share about that?
So the main important part I can talk about for the young generation is to be adaptive. So don't get bogged down by past ideas, be innovative, try to take up more risks in life, but at the same time, be careful about the challenges that are there. So learning digitalization does not stop. In fact, the more ways that you can pivot from challenges rather than complaining about things, the better off it is, because you are going to find the solution yourself because of the creativity, the creative juices that are in the middle of all of us. So that is the best part of it in some sense. So despite all the challenges the world has faced, and still we are not out of it, because there are significant downside risk that comes in, as you have seen, in cost of living increases and so on, that might be directly or indirectly because of the COVID pandemic and supply chain disruptions. So it is important to address that, but go forward and try to take those challenges and give creative solutions. So I think for the young generation, it's always better to be prepared, to be adaptive, and of course explore the future in a more educated, data-driven way, if I may say so.
Much, Professor Ghosh, for your inspirational words for the younger generation to come. And indeed, we have all learned a lot from COVID, isn't it, Tanya?
Yes.
And I'm sure they would really benefit a lot, by listening to you. And now I would like to ask our Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Suborno Bose, who is at Singapore right now at this book launch. Sir, what are your thoughts and how excited are you? And we would love to hear a few words from you. Over to Dr. Bose.
Hello, good evening from lovely SMU campus, Singapore, to all the viewers and listeners out here. It's been an excellent discussion about the COVID, the innovation, the challenges, the complexities, and the future ahead. And of course, the book launch of the COVID. I'll show you the book here. I've got a copy here lying. So there's a book, um, the Managing Complexity and COVID-19, which has been published by Routledge publisher, one of the best publisher in the world. So it talks about the complexities that COVID have brought to the world, which the world could never imagine, and how the world survived and came out of it largely. And but at the same time, the challenges it posed, and also getting prepared in case it hits back to the world once again. So it's a very educational and thoughtful discussion by some very eminent educationists from SMU and from practitioners. uh, I think it's been a absolutely very learning evening for all of us. So very successful launch of this book, Managing Complexity and COVID-19. Uh, and I, from the SMU, is extremely delighted to be a part of this book launch. Thank you.
I would like to ask you what gave you the idea to get 24 authors to assemble their stories? I would love to hear more about that.
I think that gives a very diversity in the character of the book. This authors came from different diverse business, diverse educational background. We even have a justice of a high court who wrote about the law and the jurisdiction and jurisprudence. We have educationists, we had doctors. So I think all this gives a very um, strong diversity about the complexity that COVID posed to the world.
Thank you so much, Professor Ghosh. And over to you, Tanya. All right, so thank you so much, Dr. Bose and Professor Aurobindo Ghosh, for taking out your precious time from this lovely evening back there at Singapore, wherein we were launching a book by Professor Aurobindo Ghosh, which is Managing Complexity and COVID-19. So, ladies and gentlemen, so you were just hearing Dr. Suborno Bose, the Chief Executive Officer of IIHM Hotel School, and the special guest, Professor Aurobindo Ghosh, who were live from Singapore, wherein they were launching a book, Managing Complexity and COVID-19. So indeed, it is a very lovely and a very special evening for all of us here at IIHM Hotel School. Yes. And of course, for all the entire IIHM fraternity who is back there in Singapore for the book launch. So, ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned in, and we will be back yet again with few more live updates on the book launch, and of course, many more to come. Thank you so much, and signing off from IIHM Delhi studio. Thank you.